Welcome to the Strategic Decision Making Simulation. The first screen you will see will be this one, and this is the preparation screen where you can download the guide about how to play it. So you press on the link, and there's a how to play guide. I will also show you part of this in class just to make sure that everyone knows how to play the game. The other thing that you have available will be the actual case that outlines the situation, the market situation, the company you represent. So one of the first things you want to do is read this case through so you have a background. You can see some of the basic setups for what you will manage. For instance, it is laundry detergent formulations, and you can see that you will represent blue and your current income statement. So when you're ready and when we open the game, what you can then do is enter a number of decisions, which you do up here on the top right. So make decisions, and this is the whole game. So here you will forecast how many, not just forecast, but you will put in how many you want to produce. So in this case, I think last year's production was 32 million units. You can put this in. And you can press on the forecast commander. That helps you forecast what is the likelihood of what you will be needing to produce. So you can use this forecaster to help you forecast your production units. So that's one of the things that you want to do. When you want to enter next screen, you will go down to close format. Now here you will have to input the price of the products. You can, of course, see some data about the past, which you can find if you go into reports. Here's a little set of information. You can see the income statement for the past years, which is also in the case material. You can see your current production versus demand. Here you can see you have a demand of 32,000, production of 32,000, and an inventory of 0. You can see current pricing, and this is the pricing that you have. You have blue, which is 7 over the past years. You can see your competitors' pricing. And here you can see social media, which actually shows some comments about your product and your company. And if you're interested in the comments that are coming in, you can follow them here on the right side. Different types of comments. The other analytics you can use would be the Data Explorer. And there's a whole range of data that you can look at. You have, of course, your operating profit, which you can see for yourself, blue, and for your competitors. You can see the revenue splits. You can see market shares, how you are, how that develops. You can see brand demand, how much that demand there is for the different types of products. So you have an idea about what your competitors are doing, what you are doing, and you can use that for your analysis. On the right side, you have a couple of filters, so you can look at what you sell for different types of target groups. These ones you can open. You can keep them gray here, which means you cover everything, or you can split them up. You can, for instance, in this case, look at what happens if you're only looking at an income under 20,000. You can see this one will change. If I press this again, you can see it changes back. So you can actually play around with the brand demand, for instance, depending on the filters, which is basically the different target groups that you can choose. This functionality is also true for all the other things you're looking at. So, for instance, for brand sales, here you can see the total sales for all the products. If you choose a specific group, let's say we choose one under $20,000 in income per family, you can see how this one changes. Formulation demand, which is an analysis of what types of versions of the products. There are pods and liquids and powder. You can see how many the demand, and then you can see what happens if you choose target groups. Media consumes will show you a list of the consumption levels of the different meters available. You can again see a change happening. If you choose certain type of target groups, you can see how they move over time. Brand attributes demands will tell you a little bit about what positioning dimensions the different target groups are looking for. In this case, you can see the odor elimination is on top, followed by cold water scent and softness. Trade channel demand will show you the demand based on different distribution channels. Here, convenience, club, mass, and grocery. And then price point demand, you will see the demand and the prices for different types of pricing levels that we have in the market. You can also go to the last one where you can see the number of households that are included under these different conditions. You can also see a map of the US where you can see what type of demand there are for the products that we sell, so you have an idea about how the demand is split between the different regions. And of course that is relevant if you look at choosing decisions on this screen for different target groups. So this is what you choose to focus on. So of course the regions matter. For instance, if you have no regional focus, it doesn't really matter that much. But if you choose to go, for instance, for the Northeast, then the geography demand will be relevant for the Northeast, right? So this is where you can see that graphical demand. Last but not least, you can also see, once you have started putting in decisions, how you have done over the period of time in which you are making decisions. So back to this one, this is what you're going to be working on. You're going to inset your decision making. In this case, I'm going to produce 32 million. I'm going to set my price to what I have right now, which is 7. So press return. I'm going to settle pots, and I will go for softness. And here I can change the focus on what type of trade spend we will. In this case, let's keep it like 1/4 for each of them, as you can see. If you want to change club, we can say let's focus more on club. So I'll increase this to 30. If I do that, I can see I have 105, and this of course has to go down to 100. So I have to correct it manually in order to get the 100. Otherwise, it doesn't allow me to submit. These are the media spendings in communication. So all of this is spent across the board. And right now, let's say I'm going to only be focusing on a region. So I choose the Northeast, and I don't care about the rest of them, but those ones are the ones I'm going to go for. And then once I'm done, I can of course write in what my thinking is. So what am I planning? So in this case, I plan to focus on Northeast as target group. So that's the target group choice. Price. I will keep price in the lower range versus competitors. Product, focus on pots which has the highest demand. Well, basically this is positioning. Well, it is product, by the way. Sorry about that. We'll go back, product. So you can add your strategic thinking for yourself to be able to review exactly what you've been looking at each of the decision rounds. So this one is we're looking at softness, so the positioning will be softness. Because this is different than others. I think. And so forth. So here you put in your strategy. So once you're done, you have 4 rounds. You can then submit it. You can see here that I don't have all the decision points needed in order to submit. So I'll have to go and look at what am I needing here. In this case, it was that I haven't chosen a focus for market segment. So now I do with the Northeast. And then it lets me submit. Then I press submit. And then immediately I will see the results of my decision. So here we can see the market share. Blue has a 10% market share. We can see the profitability developing over time versus competitors. You can see that now we have a new year added. Here you can see the revenue, and then again a map over demand. This is what it looks like. And then now we can go in on the reports. We have another year, and we can look at production. So in this case, you can see the demand, the production, and inventory, how it's split up. Basically, we don't have any inventory, so we basically sold everything that we could produce for this period. You can see pricing. So price has developed just like it is now. So we continued the pricing. We can see social media, what's happening there. There's some new comments if you want to have a look at that. We can go into the Data Explorer. You can see the next year is coming up here, so we can see how the whole market went. So we actually went down, but all the rest of them also went down. We can look at market share. It looks positive. We're going up. But we're still the one with the lowest market share, brand demands, and so forth. So this is a place where you can start analyzing it. You can also break down your new findings based on the different target groups you're looking at. In this case, we want to look at, to start with, at least what we've chosen. So in this case, we have chosen the region. So we will open up the Northeast in order to see the results for the Northeast. So here you can see that we are actually having one big competitor in the Northeast, which is Turbo. And if we look at market share, they have the biggest market share. We could go to price points. You look at where the price points are. Obviously, this is there's a big demand for a cheaper one. Also some demand for other ones. So that's part of it. So there you have it. This is one way to look at it. You can see Turbo is more expensive than we are. So we are going after this market. We are least price competitive versus Turbo, if that's the focus we have. So this is a short little introduction. That's how you do it. Then once you have done your first decision, then you go into the second decision round. You can then make another set of decisions for all of these elements. You can look at the data again. You can correct your strategy, if that's what you desire, and then you can submit it. And after you've submitted 4 rounds of decisions, then the game is basically over. So there you have it. That's how you actually execute the simulation.